Welcome guys, we're at the Ironstone Extreme, one of the hard enduro events run by Grassroots Enduro Australia. We have something very different for you today. We have two guest commentators, and I must say too, these are both Muppet riders. Number one is Jeff Morris, my brother.
Greetings everybody.
And we have James Cox, a silver class Muppet, believe it or not. How are we tonight, James?
Very well, thank you, Barry.
These guys both raced, but we are on board with Jeff, who is going to be doing a bronze class lap. What's going through your mind at this point, at the start line?
Just taking it easy. I approached this whole race with the intent of just finishing without taking breaks, without getting arm pumped, without hurting myself mainly. Yeah, treat it like a trail ride. I'm not even trying to get in front of these guys here. Happy to be the fifth one off in my group. I just figured that carnage begins soon enough and there'll be plenty of overtaking opportunities later should it happen, or people might even overtake me. Whatever, don't really care.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I remember my very first event was Wildwood Hard Enduro and had exactly that advice. The guy said to me, treat it like a trail ride, don't go out hard, relax, start really slow. He said, let everybody go, which I did. I actually just sat on the start line until everyone disappeared in a cloud of dust. Coxie, your experience?
Yeah, much the same, especially at the start of a race. The red mist descends and people get pretty crazy. Everybody going for the whole shot. Didn't see Jeff go for the whole shot in this race.
No, well, I think Jeff just gets sort of a gentle pink mist, if anything. Very feminine.
Yeah, but I think it's important to keep in mind that by the time the race starts for Jeff's starting position, there's been the whole day of prologue the day before, and there's also been another 100 bikes ride this same track he's riding down now. So things have changed a lot. The lines have all changed, rocks have moved, logs have moved, so it just pays to be extra careful.
Not getting laid, running afoul of other riders trying to egg you on, feeling cooped up and peckish to rule the roost. You'll feel ultra cocky with our new chicken claw side stand.
Yeah, I could see just before we had some sandy whoops. I think we've got some more sandy whoops. Oh, Jeff, tell us your style here. What's the secret?
There's no secret here. It's just, it was just trail riding here. The funny thing is, you talk about the nerves and the red mist. I actually had the opposite. I was just like, whatever. I was super chill at this point in time. I'm not even trying to get past this guy. I could have gone a little bit faster, but we're like 300 meters into the race here, and there's 32.5 kilometers to go, and I'm thinking, what's the point in rushing at this stage? And in fact, this is the section where my bike started to play up a little bit, and you can hear it just falter a little bit here, and as I come down to the right here, she just dies. And I don't know how I did it, but I'd actually turned the fuel tap to the off position. So I don't know what's going on here. I think Scott's behind me at this stage. He pulls up and...
It may have been Scott that actually turned it off, and now he's coming to the rescue. Oh, Jeff, can I help you, buddy? I'll sacrifice my race time to help you.
Never thought about that, so... Geez, Jeff, you were an idiot.
I have an alternative theory, which might be that the Sherco, the French bike, wants to be ridden hard, and it's just going, what the fuck? I'm being ridden like a trials bike?
It's probably being ridden by like an agricultural bike at this stage by the idiot on board.
So there's Scotty?
Yeah, Scotty on his...
Infamous Scotty.
Scotty on probably the last ride on his little 200.
Yes.
So,
special surprise there.
No one saw that coming. So,
now we've got a sharp little incline here. Did this catch you guys out at all?
No, not really. No.
I think that during the prologue, it didn't catch me out, but you kind of come out of the soft sand in the creek bed with all the whoops, and it does come up very quickly from a blind corner, but we were sort of in second gear, sort of cruising along at a fair pace, so it didn't really catch us, I suppose.
give your unborn child an unfair advantage. We insert a small dirt bike and riding gear into your wife's uterus to start training early. It's very unpleasant for your wife, but hey, is she serious about being a good mother or not?
What did you guys do about the dust? They did talk about wearing goggles initially, but I was surprised that later on, nobody's wearing goggles.
No, I think early on in the race, there was because the riders were all bunched up fairly tightly, there was a lot of dust. I did wear my goggles initially because of the dust and also roost from the bikes in front of me, but I reckon halfway through the course I took my goggles off just because it was so hot.
Yeah, I was wearing my safety glasses underneath the goggles, and I found it the same thing. I found it a little too hot, so yeah, I ditched them and I just had the safety glasses on, and that was fine. For those who are probably thinking why I wear safety glasses, they're actually prescription. So yeah, I'm pretty blind without the glasses. So
A couple of nice passes up that hill, Jeff.
thank you. Yeah. This is one of our lady riders, I think, is it?
He might take offence to
He
that.
might. Scott Childs, I think his name is, or her name is.
I must say it was awesome to see so many women riding.
I know, like that's the thing. There were a couple of girls in the starting line up around me. That's why I thought it might have been one of the girls. But no offence to whoever that is.
Yeah. Oh, this hill. What can you tell us?
Oh, this hill. Yeah, I was a little surprised everyone was sitting at the bottom there, but it is just talcum powder and just snotty, horrible rocks just sitting underneath that talcum powder, and your back wheel's just jumping up and down, and it's just hard to get consistent traction. Poor little 250's working hard here. The clutch is working hard. You can see old mate in front of me. He's doing all right. As long as I'm like, just keep going, mate. Just don't stop. Please don't stop.
I can see those tree roots there. You just need enough speed to get over them, hey?
I was just over them, but like you think you've got the Scotty!
Jeez, he's an arsehole.
He is, isn't he? He just has no respect for his elders, that's for sure. So, well done to him. He rode a great race, old Scotty. I gotta say, he beat me overall by 10 minutes. So no, good luck to him.
We should mention he's 20 years younger too. 25 years younger?
26 years younger. Yeah, 26 years younger. Bloody whippersnapper.
Yeah, you can tell by the arse. If you look carefully, you can see the tight arse ahead. We're not even going to film Jeff's, but let's just say it's the exact opposite.
Indeed.
Scared of that hill climb? Dry your eyes and get into it with Croisette. Warning, may cause cancer, crappy pivot turns, flatulence, bad breath, man boobs, and death.
The other thing I found impressive is how well Scott's doing on a 200 EXC.
I agree, especially some of those hills that last on with all the deep talcum powder and rocks. It felt like somewhat like the back brake of my bike was being squeezed on and dragging the bike to a stop. So for Scotty to zip up that as smoothly as he did, he's done an excellent job.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. It just felt like there was something wrong with the back end because it's just jumping up and down on those concealed rocks and talcum powder. And I was convinced I had a flat tyre at the end of it.
One thing I was going to ask you guys, I mean, this is just bronze class, but nonetheless, it's still a hard enduro. But I've seen people watch this and go, that doesn't look really hard. I mean, having done 32 kilometres for a full lap, what would you say?
You're right, like none of these sections are particularly difficult in bronze, but what it is relentless. Like there are just these are all virgin tracks. We've got to remember a few days before the event, so there's just rocks everywhere. None of the tracks are overly smooth. There's little holes everywhere where people have been digging them out. It's exposed roots, as you can see. It is just relentless. You've just got to keep on top of your pace and make sure that you're not going too quick or too slow. It's tiring. It's the only way to. Took me 3 hours to complete this 32 kilometre loop.
Well, look, it's interesting you mentioned pace, because if I've got this right, I don't think anybody's overtaken you, but have you overtaken about 6 riders now?
Awesome.
So those would be guys who started too hard, they've probably got arm pump, they're getting tired already, only 10 minutes in.
That's right, yeah. This was in the prologue on the day before here. There were about 6 bikes just sitting there waiting to get through that particular area, that little pinch there. Couldn't really understand why. It wasn't particularly difficult, but yeah, it was... When I talk about pace, I'm not approaching this with any intent of riding quickly. I just wanted to ride smoothly and as, what's the word I'm looking for? Consecutively, or whatever it is, just continuous. I didn't want to go fast, didn't want to go slow. Just
be consistent.
Yeah,
and keep
consistent.
Keep moving. That's the name of the game. Is just to keep moving at all costs, even if you got to slow down to grab a drink or to stretch your hand. Just keep ticking away in first gear so you don't crash into a tree, but just keep moving is the name of the game.
Yeah. And so, Coxie, I mean, you did silver class. I know you would have come out on some of these tracks, but you must have had quite a lot of the tracks significantly harder. I mean, did that change your approach, or was it still just monitor your pace really carefully? Or?
Yeah, well, the biggest issue that I have in these races is arm pump and getting tired fingers, basically. Like, I get to the point where my fingers are so tired that I can't pull the clutch in, which has its own safety issues. So it was just a case of keeping on top, making sure I'm not going too fast, using too much energy. And like Jeff said before, it is a long day. I think my lap took over 5 hours. Fuck, can't see shit. And it's just relentless. There's no chance to stop for a break until probably 3/4 of the way through the course. And even then, on trails like we've got on the screen now, you've still got to watch out for grass trees and hidden rocks and low-hanging branches and things like that. So there really is no break.
Those grass trees, weren't they? The little hidden assassins on the.
Yeah, little soft, fluffy, cute-looking things, but they're as solid as a tree trunk. I tell you. That's from experience. I came to a grinding halt several times hitting the grass trees.
I'm not sure if you noticed, but Scotty was off onto the side there having a little swim in the water there. I'm not quite sure what that was about. So, see, I was being nice to him. I waited for him.
I wasn't going to say anything, but nice bikini.
Yeah, nice. He was going to wear the G-string for the race, but thankfully he decided not to.
Imagine the chafing with the dust.
Yeah. Scott has an impressive set of man boobs for a guy so young.
Indeed.
Is that A cup or B cup?
I'm not going to say anything at this point in time. I don't like where this is going.
See, these trails here were quite fun, but again, you've got to watch out that your bars don't clip any of these grass trees or branches on the side, because you just turn into a big pinball, basically.
You'll see later on, a lot of the trees have got bark missing where guys have hit them pretty hard.
For any non-Australians, these are a bunch of grass trees right next to the trail. It's incredibly tough trunks. They're like posts of steel. If you hit one with a foot peg, you were just thrown off your bike or just brought to a standstill. Yeah, you learn to treat them with a lot of respect.
Is your heavy clutch causing an imbalance? CR 5 tips for a lighter clutch.
Of course, maybe you have just been single too long, in which case learn to use your other hand.
I've got Scott Jarvis in front of me, hunting, probing for overtaking points. He's an animal. I'm at 200.
Jeff's looking for the passing line.
I was
sick of waiting.
Come on, guys, go. Well, actually, I was more sick of the dust, to be honest. It doesn't look bad on the video, but in certain sections it was quite bad, and the low sun, because it's pretty early in the morning here at certain points. Yeah, just made it hard to see. It's amazing how the video just sort of smooths it out.
Is that Scott in front of you again?
It is Scotty. See, I was a nice guy. I waited for him while he had his little bath in the creek down there.
Team player. So what have we got here? Just an awkward sort of cutaway log on a corner.
The guys had spun out, like obviously got stuck on it, and they were spinning out. So it was actually about a 30-centimetre gap underneath that log. You couldn't really see it from that angle, but the guys had just cut.
Handful of throttle there.
Yeah. Remember, guys, rev limiter solves everything. Oh, it's like solves nothing. But this is one thing we've noticed not only in hard enduros but at our own tracks. You've got a tough obstacle, like a big wheel in front of it, and just digging it out and it's spinning the rear. I don't know if it's just bloody-minded optimism, thinking that if I can just spin my rear wheel enough, somehow I will get over this obstacle. I don't know. It's a weird one.
Yeah, the camera probably doesn't show it, but this hill is actually quite steep. Looks like it's going to bunch up to a point here. Scott's taking the passing line. Oh, Scotty Jarvis, that is an excellent line there.
Scotty nails the passing line, and whoever's riding this bike just is in a world. Who's this riding again? Can you rhyme?
I don't know. It's some muppet. I don't know. I can't remember what his name is.
Wow, so there's a couple of passes there. Very impressive.
Yeah.
And relatively clean too. Very nice.
The perfect Christmas present. How to push your pumpkin. How to tow your pumpkin. And how to make a fraudulent insurance claim on your pumpkin.
So at this stage of the race, Jeff, how are your arms feeling as far as arm pump goes?
Pretty good, actually. I got to say, I wasn't getting too much arm pump throughout the entire race. To be honest, it was more the dust that was annoying me than anything else. Like I wasn't too bad with the arm pump. I was trying to conserve energy as much as possible. Like I'm standing here, but you know, I sat down quite a bit, just trying to keep that pressure off the arms and not grip as hard. Just making sure, and when I am standing, I'm trying to get my body position right so that I'm actually not holding on for dear life.
Look, it's a really interesting one, the whole topic about when to stand and when to sit, particularly in a hard enduro. And people have asked me, and I've just gone, look, it's really complex. There are so many factors involved. You're trying to keep your energy levels high, so you'll sit at times, but there are other times when you're sitting you'll use more energy. What happened there?
Was that a kick? Did he just kick in?
There was a little bit of friendly punching going on there. No, my right bar, the bark buster, did hit Scotty in the side there, so it was just like,
Kidney shot.
Sorry mate, you stopped in the wrong spot there. So I mean, if I'd been a nicer person, I would have stopped and waited for him, but like I had momentum at this point in time and I thought, nah. Again, the video sort of smooths out these hills, but this is actually quite a steep hill. I see this. I try to be the gentleman.
Faster rider behind you.
Can you explain these gloves? Are those gardening gloves?
They're my guacamole and corn chips gloves. So, you know, you find all the top bases are wearing them these days. Maybe not.
Yeah, definitely seeing a bit of dust now, and usually if you can see dust on the camera, you know it's actually pretty bad.
Yeah, it was. It was funny. It was bad in some places, and then other places still had a lot of moisture in the track, depending on which side of the hill you were on. Obviously, I think these more western sides of the hills probably get a little bit more sun exposure and a bit drier.
These mods will turn you into a pro rider, give you firmer, longer-lasting erections for your camping tent, and attract the opposite sex. And a good chunk of the same sex too.
Did either of you guys have trouble with these descents? Because, again, it might not look that steep, but I was very conscious of... Whoa, speaking of...
You alright?
Yeah, it was a lot of those descents you were just dragging the back wheel down log.
You alright, pal?
I should have gone around him here, but there wasn't a particularly good overtaking point because you can see he's in a little bit of a rut there, and I didn't really know what was to the left and what was to the right, so...
Mind if I sneak past, or...
This is where I don't know what the etiquette is, but I would have expected he'd just move off to the side there and let you through, but he
did not. Oh, look, he was actually the guy we let through earlier. I thought he was travelling a bit faster than I was, so I mean, I can't remember whether I got past him here or not. I don't. We'll see.
It is funny though, because I guess it's probably like road driving where everybody's got their different idea of etiquette. But I certainly know one of our guys. Well, there wasn't a punch up, was there? That words were exchanged.
Yeah. He was just waiting for a good line at the hill, and guy was like, move up, shuffle up, and he's like, no, I just want to get a good run up at this. There's bikes stuck there ahead. As soon as they're clear, I'll have a go, and I've got a clear run at it. But yeah, guy just got impatient, you know.
It is a race, but there's no need to throw the manners out the window either. I normally, not that I pass often, but when I do, I normally ask if it's okay that I go past.
Yeah.
And rarely does anyone say, no, you cannot pass. So
Look, I don't think we can let this go. What the fuck happened there?
yeah, what is happening there?
I hit that with just a little too much speed at that point in time, and I got my front wheel over the wrong side of the rut. But I was just carrying a little too much speed into that corner.
Ghost Rider!
Yeah, that's our mate Bo. Unfortunately, Bo was the cause of all that traffic jam that you saw there. So, terrific guy. He's only been riding for 12 hours, and there he is in his first hard enduro.
He's so good at riding now. He doesn't even have to be on the bike when he goes riding.
To be on the bike.
That's impressive.
No, I got to tip my hat to Bo. It did take him a few hours to get through it, but he got through it. He stuck with it and just took his time. And man, the smile on that guy's face at the end of it.
Absolutely chuffed.
Yeah, he was, and so he should be.
Yeah.
It was a good effort.
I think that was Casey hiding in the trees there, taking some videos.
Yes. Famous photographer.
Pulse Media.
Yes, Pulse Media. Casey.
Our new Gumby Enduro boots. Don't just ram that lever, feel it. Become one with the lever. At a cosmic level, you are the lever, and it is you.
Warning, will cause broken toes, snapped tendons, crushed feet, and death through arterial bleeding.
Just going back to the downhills, Barry, we did have a couple of pretty gnarly hills in the silver lines that it was sort of a hill that once you started down them, it was very hard to pull your speed back once you were moving. So there were quite a few people that got caught out with that, having to bail out off the side of the track to stop without hurting himself.
Yeah, look, it's certainly what I was conscious of, that you just needed that one rock to throw your front wheel out, or possibly even two. You know, the second rock might totally put you out of control. You know, normally you hit one rock, you just compensate with your body positioning. But if you're unlucky and get those two rocks in a row, and there were certainly quite a few places where I thought you would be landing on some pretty uncomfortable shit. There were quite a few off-campus slopes. You might have rolled down and had trouble getting your bike back up. So, yeah, I must admit some of those descents were worrying me a little bit. Yeah, it's just going down slower than I would normally. Scotty ahead?
Yeah. Caught up with the Scottmeister here.
Oh, and speaking of Scott's 200, advance notice, he has upgraded to a 300.
Yeah, he's turned his back on the pumpkin camp, and he's gone with the Italianos. He's now on the Beta 300 RR. Is it factory edition? Is that what they call it?
I think they only sell them to expert riders. So
and I think it's racing edition.
It is the racing edition. Yeah.
I think Scott might have forged his credentials for that one. Oh, talk us through the traffic jams. This is the first of many.
Yeah, this was. I was a little frustrated here because it was a steep. It was actually, I have to admit, it was a very long hill. But ruts were formed. I was a little frustrated that guys were taking so long to get up this hill because, clutch control and throttle control just got you through this no problem whatsoever, and guys just held it open, wheel spinning, just digging the rut, just creating more talcum powder. and it just wasn't that difficult. I'm not saying that I'm, you know, a good rider or anything like that, but it's just, I think these guys made it a lot harder than it needed to be.
I think every time you stop on hills like this, getting moving again can be so hard. I think if you can just keep that back wheel ticking over and just keep moving forward, however slow it is, that's the trick to getting up these big long hills.
Do you like firm knobs? Is your air getting worn out? We give you new air for only $400 per tire. Cross Training Enduro. When only the dodgiest will do.
And I must say, I've edited this so it looks as though you guys are moving along reasonably well, but in reality, what were you there for? Maybe 90 minutes on the one hill?
Oh, I don't think it was that long. Maybe 30 minutes all up, and it was really only would have been, I think, if I'd had a clear run at it, maybe a 5-minute hill, something like that. It just, you know, you can just see, like, you're just turning around and there's another 5 bikes in front of you and they're waiting for another 5 and so on up the hill. So it was just, I was a little frustrated here because I just wanted to keep moving.
Did you find that there was enough grip in the rut, just riding the rut up the hill?
Yeah, there was heaps. There was only one little section, and I'm not sure if you'll see it on this particular video, but the guys were just holding the throttle wide open, and guys were off their bikes and just pushing it through this one section, and they're just digging a deep rut. And
Are these the bits where you had caffeine in your backpack? You're looking a bit agitated.
yeah, I don't know what's going on here. What are we on? Double speed, triple speed?
Four times.
Four
speed,
times.
Yeah, I think once you've got to get off the bike and start pushing, especially this early on in the race, I think this is probably the first quarter of the track.
I think we were maybe 8Ks into it at this stage.
So really not far into the course at all. If there's people that are having to get off and lift and push their bike up hills like this, it's going to make for an awfully long race for them.
Yeah. See the traffic jam. So unfortunately, there is one little section up here. I'm not looking forward to people seeing this. I did cock up the little rock section later on. Wasn't my cleanest run through there. But yeah, I think this might have been one of the sections where guys were getting off and pushing. Again, looks pretty flat here. There are just a few little hidden obstacles underneath all that dusty powder.
Yeah, well, I can certainly remember some of these climbs, there'd actually be a big rock in the dust, and you're just stuck, but you've got to drop the clutch and kind of launch the bike over and maybe even ghost it a bit sometimes.
So you can hear my bike, the RPM's up a little bit, but I am feathering the clutch at that point in time, so it's not all just wheel spin.
Yeah, the front wheel's coming up, so you know that there's grip there.
Yeah.
If there was no grip, the front wheel wouldn't be moving.
Oh, this is an interesting corner. Talk us through this one.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to remember it.
There's a bigger tree root or something there, just there on the left.
Yeah, I didn't quite get that round there, so yeah, just simply lift the back out of it, and then off she goes. So just yeah, take off nice and easy.
And you found that 250 was cutting through these ruts okay?
Yeah. Not at one stage did I ever think to myself, oh, I needed anything more than my little 250. I love the 250. I think it's a great size, great capacity. And the Sherco is just a great little tractor. It just produces heaps of torque down low. It's not like an old school motocross 250 where it's all top end. I mean, you can hear it right here. It's just ticking away. And
I can see you've got the Clake One Light clutch lever on there as well, which would have made easy work for these nasty hills.
Yeah, once you get used to the old Clake One Light, you can't go back. Just makes clutch control so much more simple.
And I have heard some people say it's 80% the clutch, 20% the rider.
I don't know. Who'd be silly enough to put, percentage statistics on your riding?
I would. I do.
But,
this is a tough bit.
This was my, one of a few spiritual depantsing events for me. I didn't do this as cleanly as I might have liked.
So Coxie, you wouldn't have done this? This wasn't part of the silver?
I don't think it was a part of the silver line, no. So with that corner, Jeff, was it just line choice that you didn't think you nailed, or was it the lack of momentum?
I think that I just didn't get the momentum right. I just felt like I had the right line, but I just didn't keep the bike moving enough to get up that cleanly. I don't think my body was in the right position, you know, to get around it cleanly. And others got around it cleanly, and I watched them, and I just thought, I can do that, and I didn't. So it's just one of those things. If it wasn't a race, if we were just out for a trail ride and I wanted to know, I'd probably go back and do it again, but I got through it. Just wanted to keep on moving at that point.
I must say, it's the hill that keeps on giving, because there were so many points where I thought, oh, finally, that's it.
Yeah.
And no, there's more.
Yeah, that's right. It just felt like it just kept on going. And you know, the hills in the Rocky area aren't that big. Nothing like what you've got in Victoria, Coxie.
At last, a boot for short riders, overlooked by tall riders, sick of crashing at a standstill, the Guyane SG12 Stiletto.
Well, that's 10k down. Another third of the way through. Pretty good.
More rocks. The dust looks a bit lighter and a bit fluffier as well. That guy almost looped his bike on top of you.
Yeah. I think you can see here, see just there on the left, somebody's dug a pretty big hole. And when I came through an hour and a half later, somebody had dug that right down past the axles.
Wow.
And everybody was falling into it, and we're having to lift people through. And again, guys, you know, if you really like spinning the rear wheel, you might be better off getting into open cut mining or something. You'd probably find that would be a really rewarding career.
Ploughing fields, that sort of thing, back and forth, you know, just dig trenches.
Yeah, he's giving his levers a bit of a readjustment.
I think, yeah.
I certainly saw a lot of guys stretching arms and clenching arms, and
that was me wiping away the tears.
And just when you think like the hill is all over, then you got to start descending it again, and
between all the grass, trees, and the rocks, that's hard work.
I must say, beautiful terrain though. I don't. The video's probably not capturing it because there's a lot of shadow and sun, and the GoPro doesn't capture it well, but there were plenty of times I just slowed down and thought, this is so scenic. The views, the terrain, the fauna, the flora.
Yeah, I agree. The two Craigs that cut these trails and marked them in did an absolutely fantastic job. Kudos to those guys. Like the amount of time and effort they've put in, just incredible.
Exactly. Given this was all virgin territory, these tracks didn't exist before the race. Now, hats off to them.
I think Greg was saying over 100 kilometres of trail that they cut between all the different classes in the prologue. But that is a lot of work.
Oh, this is a great little rock section.
Yeah, I love this little rock garden here. I've caught up with
Kelly.
It might be Kelly. She was a machine. She just didn't stop the entire race.
The lady races in front.
So talk us through your technique here, or lack thereof.
The complete lack thereof. I'm just looking at it going, what the hell? Like, you know, oh, the beautiful pivot turn there, wasn't it?
It is a tough section though.
It is, yeah.
So the camera probably doesn't show it very well, but how steep was that drop off to the side of those rocks?
It was not insubstantial. It would have been painful if you'd gone off to the left there. I would say it was probably 1.5 meters down. I mean, it wasn't a sheer drop off, but probably would have been significant bike and body damage if you'd gone to the right.
It's a long way to pick the bike up if the bike goes down.
Yeah, exactly.
White power suspension. You can't see we aren't trying.
So sorry, I cut you off before, but what you were saying about Kelly, who's riding up ahead?
I would get past her on the faster sections, and then I might get to the top of some other section, and she would just overtake me again. She'd come past, and then I'd take off again and get in front again. She was very kind. She let me through each and every time, but she was just consistent. Like, she didn't stop at all. And she appears probably 3 or 4 times during this video, I'm not really sure. But yeah, you just get in front of her, and then she'd get up a steep section and get in front of me again, and I'd have to overtake her again. But it was not a problem at all, though. It was great fun, actually. But yeah, like for example here, she'll probably pull over for me and let me through. But it's just a case of, it shows you that consistency's probably more important than outright speed.
And I wonder too sometimes if it comes a bit more naturally to the girls. They're not, gender stereotypes. They're not usually as quite gung-ho as the guys, and in there, full throttle, at 'em. And I think in hard enduro that often plays really well, because they're consistent, they pace themselves, they'll stop and think something through. They're way less likely to be as bull as a gate. I mean, have you guys seen that in the events you've done?
Basically, you're saying they're not idiots, right? Like males are saying it, so...
Well, that's the short way to say it.
I'd have to agree with that.
Yeah, in my experience, I actually got to ride behind Kelly for a little bit at the Kosciuszko Killer, and like Jeff said, just super consistent. Kept moving the whole time, but when she came up against something hard, she stopped for a couple of seconds, assessed what was going on, and then just went through the section so smoothly. No revs, no spinning tyres or anything, and I suppose in being so smooth, she saves a lot of energy. So she was running rings around me for sure.
Yeah. Actually, that's something I've been meaning to ask you guys too. This whole thing about don't stop if you can help it, because I'm getting to that age where honestly I just get to the top of these climbs, or sometimes only half the way up. I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack. I just stop and wait for the heart rate to go down. But increasingly I'm hearing more people say this. Just try not to stop. Slow down enough that you can actually just keep going. I mean, I guess 2 questions. 1, do you guys believe in that? And 2, how hard is it to make happen?
I'll defer to your expertise here, Coxie.
But I had a bit of a conversation with Jeff about this on the way home from the race, and we sort of came to the conclusion that while stopping is not the end of the world, stopping is dead time. It's 100% dead time. So even just ticking along in first gear is 100% more efficient and beneficial to your race time than sitting still and stretching and having a drink. If you can do those things while you're pottering along in first gear, that's much better than coming to a stop. And I'm probably the worst person as far as stopping and talking to fellow riders and helping and that, which it's not great for race times, but it gives you a chance to loosen up and have a bit of a stretch. But in this race up at Mount Morgan, I made an effort to only stop if if my clutch finger completely stopped working, I would stop and have a stretch. But otherwise, I just tried to just keep moving at all cost.
Our latest Honda features new stickers for even more power, and we even included suspension.
How did that go for you? Did it feel different? Did it feel better, or?
Yeah, look, quite often I would think, I just want to stop and have a stretch and have a bit of a rest, but then I thought, I can do that while I'm riding on the bike, and it's not going to be dangerous. I'm still going to get a bit of a stretch and a bit of a loosen up, but it was very hard to resist the temptation to stop and have a break, because it's a hard ride. And like you said, you get up to the top of a big hill, you're puffed, your arms are sore, you might have a couple of extra bruises, you just want to stop for a break, but you've got to tell yourself, just keep moving, just keep moving.
Yeah. But it is hard, because I don't know, maybe it would have been different in my 40s, but now I just feel shattered, and I'll just pull over and I might even drape myself over the handlebars, just waiting for the heart rate to go down, get some air back in my lungs. But I think I can see what you're saying though, is that Yeah, as long as you're not collapsing from unconsciousness, you can probably still just trickle along in first gear and...
Yeah, and you don't need to have the death grip on the handlebars all the time. I'm not very good for that, but I did sort of try and make an effort to, when the terrain permitted, to loosen my grip on the handlebars and try and wiggle my fingers around to try and get a bit of circulation happening in my fingers, and that did help a bit. So,
There's also little breaks that you can take here, like for example this section here, you can clearly see that I'm sitting down. Probably should be standing up, but I thought, no, conserve my energy. It allows your arms to recover. My legs don't get that fatigued on these sorts of things, but when you're standing, yes, it's probably better for your overall balance, but now I'm just trying to save my arms and shoulders and hands and just avoid the dreaded arm pump and that sort of thing. So my aim with this whole race here was just to keep going as much as I can, and that's why I'm just not going fast at any stages, because I just don't want to get that arm pump. I don't want to be fatigued, and when I get fatigued I'll make mistakes and I'll end up picking my bike up out of that valley on the right hand side there. That's what I do not want to be doing, just stay on the track.
Yeah. And actually, just for context, I probably should have stated this earlier on, but you know, Jeff's mid-50s, I'm getting uncomfortably close to 60. Coxie's a young pup. I mean, God, he looks 20. Virility of a 20-year-old. But yeah, when we're talking about fatigue and sitting and standing, obviously, as you get older, it does get a bit tougher, and you work even more on your energy conservation. Mind you, having said that, the Gold Riders would be making a fine art of energy conservation. They're just going so hard and so fast. Were you guys lapped by Gold Class riders?
I saw at least 2 Gold Riders go past me. Not in these early stages of the race here, probably. There we go.
Wedged between 2 rocks.
Yep. And off we go again. Yeah, I was lapped by a couple of Gold Riders somewhere around the 20 to 30k mark. I can't remember exactly where, but you know, you're always, the thing is that in these races you're always aware, well I am anyway, of who's behind you. You're listening out for the bikes, and you know, you just don't want to be in their way, anybody's way really.
And particularly on a hill like this was called Big Nasty. I think, if I've got the right hill, not the toughest climb necessarily, but tough enough. And again, we've got the deep rut filled with talcum powder and hidden rocks, and I found the moment you stopped weighting that rear wheel, gone. Oh, who's this up front?
It's I don't know his name, but I think this is the Suron.
It is the Suron,
yeah. But yeah, I clearly made a mistake. I thought he was going to get through quite easily.
No.
Yeah, I'm stuck on the grass tree there. And
he has done the right thing though. He was clearly struggling, and you could see he wanted to come through, so he's popped his bike out of the line to make way for you to come through.
Yeah, I think Scotty overtook me on the right hand line, which is the line I should have taken. You can just sort of see him off to the right. And off he goes. I didn't see him again after that, so
Bloody Scott.
Yeah, but it is just it's a good lesson here. Like, you know, line choice is just so important. If I had stayed down the bottom of the mirror and maybe chosen that right hand line, I probably would have got a better run, more momentum. I probably wouldn't have been struggling as much as I am right now.
Look, possibly, but I do know that the 2 lines on the right looked tougher at the beginning, and so. Yeah, I don't know. I've done that climb, and I remember thinking, in hindsight, going right would have been better, but it looked tougher initially. So I don't know. Sometimes I think it's just luck of the draw, really.
It is luck of the draw. You're spot on.
Was this in the silver class?
I can't recall, Barry, to be honest. There was all the hills looked the same after a while. I try not to remember them.
Well, look, this is a funny thing. I was a sweep rider. I had plenty of time to just look around, and I could see all these signs, and I'm saying to Jeff, do you remember Big Nasty? No. Do you remember Timmy's torture? No.
Yeah, it was probably about 3/4 of the way through the race that I realised those paper plates on the side of the trees were actually giving us a countdown for the Ks, and like, you know, I didn't even realise. I was just like, geez, they're interesting, you know, checkpoints and gate markers and things like that. That's what I thought they were, but no, they were the kilometre countdowns.
Scotty's off again.
Yeah, I decided to have a little bit of a little energy break here. I was trying to take your advice, Coxie.
Sure.
Oh.
Well, we need to blur the screen out here or not?
Is this the porn section or?
Poor old mate, he was overheating quite badly, and he said, I can't get any water on my head cooking here, so...
That's what they call it.
That's what they call it.
So in effect you were spitting on him.
Except, yeah, the joke's on him, because I had the 2 backpacks, and one had water and the other had a sickly sweet electrolyte, so I think he got the electrolytes. Fucking lay it. Lay it elbow guards, just fall down, wear them inside on the skin over the jersey.
Okay guys, this is really interesting because I've heard the carpenter doesn't blame his tools.
Just fucking crap. And not cheap.
But I think we just heard you complaining about your elbow guards. Can you talk us through that one?
Yeah, so I bought these very expensive Layette elbow guards because I care very much for my elbows. I had a nasty accident and I've had my left elbow reconstructed. It's full of screws and pins and, you know, other things like wire. And I'm very, very scared of smashing my elbows, so I spent good money on some Layette elbow guards, and the damn things do not stay up. I've tried them on my skin, I've tried them over jerseys, you know, they're the right size, they just don't stay up.
Made in China by any chance?
I couldn't tell you, but possibly. But yeah, they're just rubbish. There's Kelly again. Get past her, and she'll get past me again at some other point, no doubt. Yeah, they just end up dangling around my wrists, and of course they're just annoying because they just flop around. Yeah, they're just utter garbage.
I suppose once they slip down, it does become a bit of a safety issue because you're trying to pull them back up your arms while you're coming down a hill.
Yeah, exactly.
It can get pretty dodgy.
Guys, here's another case of good line choice. Like I followed the crowd here. You can see Scott in front of that guy there. And I was looking and watching, and we all took this more difficult line, and look, there's Kelly in the background taking the shortcut, which is perfectly legal. Like, she's not cheating at all. But she...
Just an easier, smoother line tucked away out the back.
Yeah, she used her eyes and her brain, whereas I just followed the people in front, and I actually ended up doing a more difficult line. Doesn't look like anything here, but yeah, it was quite gnarly. And there's old mate.
Hey, so boom.
Yeah, he just did that for our entertainment.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Kelly got up that no problem whatsoever, and there she is in front of me again. So, and probably used about quarter of the energy that I did. So, kudos to her.
Now this is one of those little off-camber bits where you look to the right, and if you just make a little mistake, you're going to roll a long way down and possibly hurt yourself.
Yeah, pretty steep drop into that creek bed there. Yeah, this was not my finest moment getting through this section here where Scott is. He gets up nicely. Boom, boom. Yeah, look at that. That's what I wanted to do. Old mate, not quite as good, but he gets through it.
Getting into some serious rocks here.
Yeah. Now see how elegant she just got up that boom, boom, boom.
Very smooth.
And like, watch how badly I cocked this up.
That was really intimidating, though. I must admit, I went up to the right there.
Yeah, the right probably would have been a better line, but you know the other guys just got through it, and yeah, I'm not doing as nicely here. Perhaps I rushed it a little bit, and then I'm stuck between no man's land there because I've got my front wheel wedged against the next ledge, and I just can't get the drive off the back wheel, and I just finally decided to go back a little bit.
Sorry, Matt, I'll go back. So that is quite a substantial step up there too, though.
It is.
What give us an idea on how high that ledge is there?
I would say it's probably something like 3/4 of a metre. Yeah, and
that's it. Not as nice as I wanted it to be.
I just should have got up that more cleanly, like the others did. I did. I didn't. Simple as that. Yeah, it's probably about 3/4 of a metre. It wasn't overly high, but
It's all tricky. You nailed this bit. That's where I crashed.
oh really?
I did the first bit pretty smoothly, but just crashed it on a seemingly simple bit. So, oh god, it's
one of the things that I've got to work on is in these races is to not care too much about the guys behind me. I think I was subconsciously I was rushing it because I knew I had a couple of bikes behind me, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, you know. I've got to get through this quickly, they're going to get shitty with me if I take too long here. And the fact is that if you cock it up and, you know, you're just going to take more time.
Oh, and I think also if they're good enough, they will get around you. I mean, if there's no other way around, sure, you really don't want to hold them up. But if there are alternative lines, even if they're difficult, I think it gives you a bit of leeway. That they should recognise, if I've got the skills, I can get around you. If I haven't got the skills, I'll have to wait a bit.
And they're not in a hurry, just the same as, you know, when I got there were 4 bikes in front or 3 bikes in front of me, so, you know, they're the same. They're just like, we're just going to wait for you to get through in your own good time. As long as you're not sitting there just, you know, exasperated and hands on the bars, just going, oh, I can't do this.
Scotty up front?
That possibly is. I'm not really sure. But you can just see that none of this track, as I was saying, is overly difficult. It's just relentless. It's just rocks everywhere on this trail.
No real chance to have a rest. Ooh, there's some bark missing off that tree. Wow.
There's some amazing views here and there as well, weren't there?
I was too busy concentrating on not dying.
Well, you should become a sweep rider like me. Ride at half the speed, chill out.
It is a good gig.
Stop for coffee.
Read the signs.
Yes.
You know, the names of hills. I didn't see one of those signs. I was just concentrating. I was looking mainly for the blue markers, the blue arrows, and the bronze silver signs. I didn't want to make the mistake that I made a couple of years ago at the Cosy Killer, where I went up one of the gold hill climbs, and you know I was in all sorts of strife, and then I'm seeing people coming down. They're going, "Oh, this is the gold track." I'm like, "Oh shit."
Particularly watching the bronze class riders, like if you had to pick 3 skills they really should learn, what do you reckon it would be?
Oh, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
Clutch control. Probably for me, clutch control's first and foremost. Balance, of course. I can't really think of a third one off the top of my head, but just practice. The thing for me is that, you know, this is all about fitness. It's just about riding fitness, and the best way to get fit in this riding isn't that, you know, it's just to get out and ride. You know, there's not many other sports I don't think that translate particularly well. Like, you know, maybe mountain biking is okay. For your general cardio, but I don't think other sports like swimming or running get you into the same level of fitness, the same bouncing. Here we go again. It's I think that's Kelly.
The changeover.
That's right.
Yeah, I with clutch control be the primary thing that I would say people need to sort of have a good grasp on.
Yeah.
Probably the other thing which has taken me a long time to work out is that these races have a minimum run time of 4 hours. That's the actual active race window for a lot of the races.
Yeah.
So if your normal weekend riding or training sessions only go for 1 hour, you can't expect to turn up to a 4-hour race and be able to run the duration of the race and not be in tatters by the end.
Yeah.
So like if you're going to do a 4-hour race or an 8-hour race, you need to train for those time periods.
Yeah.
So Jeff, what riding gear did you wear for this race?
Starting from the bottom up, I've got my Gayerne SG12 boots, Pod K4 knee braces. I just run whatever pants I clean at the time. I think I was wearing the Climb XC light pants and jersey, which breathe really nicely. I'm very worried about overheating, so I don't wear anything like pressure suits or anything like that. Had my flippy floppy crappy so-called elbow protectors, which ended up being more like wrist protectors, and I've of course got my helmet on, and the thing that I wear slightly differently from most people is, I mentioned earlier, I wear prescription lenses. I'm old, so I had a pair of safety glasses done with prescription lenses in them, and that's about it.
And a backpack or a hydro pack?
Yep, I've got a Climb backpack. I carried 3 litres of fresh water for this event, and I took an extra bladder, 1 litre of electrolyte mix in it, so just to try and keep that hydration levels up.
So into the fuel dump?
Yep, this is the fuel dump. Had a brief stop here. I was looking for my old mate Scott, but he'd disappeared on me, so off I go again.
Oh, and I should mention, guys, too, we won't actually get the complete lap in. We have edited this and just done highlights, and yeah, I think we'll probably be finishing this somewhere around the 2/3 mark.
Yeah, I think that fuel dump was at around about the 20-kilometre mark, something like that, and yeah, you'll miss the last third of it. My GoPro battery went flat somewhere around here.
Yeah.
So
overall, what did you guys think of the event?
Loved it. Had an absolute ball. I thought the tracks were just brilliant. Yeah, can't say enough about how good it was.
Yeah, really well organised. I think Greg and his team there, they put in a hell of a lot of work, and they're really getting a well-oiled, polished machine with the grassroots series. So excellent job, and the trails are all cut really well, so very happy.
Good stuff.
Terrific, guys. Well, look, I hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll keep pumping out vids about Ironstone. Thanks for watching. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.